Good evening and welcome to the West Valley College Instructional Film Festival. Congratulations to all the faculty and staff whose work is being featured in tonight's program. We're so glad you're tuning in tonight to celebrate this work created in support of our students. As you watch tonight, we invite you to participate live in the chat and also in voting for the winners. Be sure to check out the program on the festival website, where you can learn more about tonight's lineup, and you can cast your vote right on the program page. Each winner from tonight's program will receive an Instructional Film Festival Award, better known as an IFFY Award. Come back to the website tomorrow after 5 p.m. to learn who the winners are. For now, let's get started. We hope you enjoy the show.
So let's take a look at some ways to do this. The very first thing, you never learn anything new when you are the person speaking, right? I mean, we learn when we can step back and we can be quiet for a minute and we can humbly ask questions and listen to other people. So I have a few tips. Number one is be quick to listen and slow to speak. Just as a general rule, there are times when you are going to engage and you are going to be the person speaking, but generally, if you want to really have great understanding, you need to be open to listening. And hopefully they're doing the same thing. And when both parties humbly say, hey, I don't have all the answers, I don't know everything, I need to listen, then I think it enters into this whole new way of dialogue. The second thing is to be curious and to ask questions. You know, oftentimes when you study and you see intercultural conflict and really intercultural misunderstanding, a lot of it roots from not being curious. Walking into situations and saying, well, I mean, I've been alive for quite a few years. I know the way the world works, so let me just tell you. And then you start going into lecturing and informing and instructing, rather than saying, I just want to be curious. I want to ask great questions to learn where you're coming from. Because the more I understand about you and the more I understand about this new culture, the better I am going to be at adapting the way that I interact and the way that I speak and the way that I carry myself and my persona and everything I do, so that I can really come in humbly to this new culture. Now, can you imagine if both sides of culture were doing this from both ends, and you go visit a new country or someone from a different country is traveling here or living here, and you both come with this curiosity and you ask questions and you say, how can I learn about your worldview and the way you see things so that I can adapt to you, and they do the same thing for you, and you create this new third culture.
To begin thinking about this module, I'd like you to take a moment and maybe even pause the video and reflect on the question, where is the self located? The idea of the self is an incredibly important concept, yet it's another one of those things that we often take for granted. As Johnson notes in the reading, Us, It, and Social Interaction, we have a lot of ideas about the self, but when you begin to think about it, it's something that is very elusive. We typically think of our bodies as our selves, but there's clearly more to it than that. We're more than just bodies. And it's easy to conclude that our brains are involved in this in some way, but that's not really what we mean by self either, is it? And maybe the idea of the soul or something more spiritual comes to mind. But that's also very nebulous. That doesn't help to clarify where the self is located or what it actually is. The reason we struggle with this is that the self is just an idea that we have about our existence. The self isn't actually tangible, and is nothing that we could ever truly locate other than to note that its existence is associated with our bodies. So it's a social construction. And, like most other social constructions, our belief that it is real means that we experience it in that way. When we talk about the self as an idea, it's important to recognize that what makes it so important is that it connects us to other people and social systems. So when we attempt to answer a question like, "Who am I?" we'll generally focus on things like our gender, our race, our age, our family relationships, our careers, and so on. In each case, those are social connections. They establish our membership in particular groups and locate us in relationship to others in society. It's through these connections with other people and through communication that our self is even able to develop. As Johnson notes, it's through social interaction that we begin to learn what we can do with our human possibility. It's through others that we learn what ourselves are capable of becoming. So it's important to recognize that we are inherently social beings, and it's our relationships and our connections to social systems that give our lives meaning.
George Herbert Mead explores the concept of the self in his theory of the I and the me. He argued that the I and the me are two parts of the self that are interdependent with each other. The me are the rules and expectations of society that become internalized. These thoughts and suggestions tell us what we should and shouldn't do in a given social context. The me is complex because it sometimes holds contradictory ideas about the correct way to behave. The me has two goals: to observe and suggest. The I, on the other hand, is our subjective self. It acts in social reality. It's the stuff we do. These two parts constantly work together as we navigate the social world. The me observes social reality and takes mental notes on how people respond to our behavior. It's also acting in the process of internalizing indirect observations. In other words, how others are treated in society. The me then uses this information to guide the I's behavior. The I often follows the advice of the me, but sometimes it doesn't and acts impulsively. The me is always quick to judge, offer corrections on behavior, and/or express self-pride. Let's discuss an example of how this self-process works. Imagine you've had a long day. You spent the morning in class taking a difficult exam. After school, you worked out. Later that evening, your best friend stops by to bring you a cheeseburger. They knew you'd had a long day and thought you'd like a treat. So how do you respond? Well, it's complicated. The me has several perspectives in this situation. On the one hand, you have had a long day, and society teaches us that fast food or rich foods are rewards for good behavior. But you also worked out. Do you really want to consume those empty calories? Just then, another part of the me says, "Of course you should eat those empty calories. You worked out." Do you remember what I said about contradictory ideas? What if I don't eat it? Will my friend be offended? Gifting norms encourage us to take graciously and be thankful. The I ultimately takes all of this into consideration as it acts. And in this case, you eat the cheeseburger. Now, you might think that's the end of that conversation, but it isn't. The me is observing your actions. Maybe it's telling you to stop. You can always eat the rest later. You can tell your friend how delicious it is, and then thank them. But your I keeps eating. Maybe a few hours later you develop a stomach ache. Your me immediately goes into action, scolding you for not listening to it. Now it will use this experience to remind you of the consequences of your decision the next time you're in a similar situation. It will tell your I, "Remember the last time you ate the burger and ended up with a bellyache?" And maybe this time your I will listen.
Welcome to Unit 2. Unit 2 covers the first 3 chapters in the textbook. These chapters deal with first-order differential equations. The first chapter introduces you to differential equations. The second chapter shows you some of the methods for solving first-order differential equations. The third chapter talks about applications of first-order differential equations. Every chapter in this course is organized in the same way. Each lesson covers a section of the chapter. With every lesson, you will find a lecture video. The lecture video is on Canvas. There are optional videos listed under More Resources. Watch the lesson video and take notes like you would when attending a lecture. You will find that the lecture videos in the lessons were created by another professor, one more skilled than I am at making videos. In addition to the lecture video, you should read the textbook. In the lesson, I will tell you which section of the textbook to read. A link to the textbook is found in Unit 1. After reading the textbook and watching the lecture video, complete your assigned homework. For this class, we are using WebAssign for the online homework system. You can access your WebAssign homework through the link provided on Canvas. At the end of each chapter, there is a quiz. Quizzes are completed on Canvas. I may ask you to embed pictures of your work. After some of the chapters, there is a reflective discussion to help improve your study skills and learning. Note the due dates for all your assignments. A good way to keep track of the due dates is to print out a list of the assignments below this video. The unit ends with the unit summary, exam, and unit survey. Before I send you off to start on Chapter 1, I have some preliminary lessons for you to go through. You will learn how to navigate the next 3 units, find out how to share videos you found while searching for additional resources for this class, and learn about some of the campus resources that can help you stay on track and complete your education.
I'm Betsy from the West Valley College Library. In this video, I will explain how you can use the ArtStore database. Access ArtStore from the library's website by using the library's Find Articles database link. Now that you have entered ArtStore, I'd like to show you what you can do in here. This database is a database of images, of art images. You can search in this box, and I'm going to search for Faith Wearing Gold. We get 380 some images that are related to her name. We can click on an image that we want to see. It brings up the image. We can zoom in on the image and back out. We can fit to view. On this side, you can get the information about the image and the rights, who has the rights and the licensing arrangements. You can cite this item by copying to a clipboard the formatted citation that you need and then pasting it in your document. You still have to edit it to get it perfectly right for your reference list. You can also, we can do full screen like this, and you can then do compare, then add off of the side. You can choose another one to compare to it. So now I have 2 images side by side. I can add a third image. I can move them around, zoom in. If I want to have one disappear, I can take one out. I can close the sidebar, then we get the whole screen, and I can hit exit, and I'm back. If I want to download this image as a JPEG, you do have to be set up with an individual account to do the download. So if you need to do that, you will need to log in. I'm logged in, so I can download the item, or if I have zoomed in on the item, I can download a detailed view. If you have any trouble setting up the login, let us know and we can help you out. Thank you.
What we're drilling today is the Roger Rabbit. Today we have 3 drills. The first drill, we're going to teach you how to swing your legs like a pendulum, side to side, all right? With that same rhythm, we're going to build in and move on to drill number 2, which we're going to move it forward and back. And by the third drill, we're going to incorporate, this is the entire Roger Rabbit, where we incorporate your arms, your body, your chest, as well as your leg. That's the Roger Rabbit.
Okay, so we are going to do our chicken dissection. So I have my forceps, my little pinchy, tweezery looking things. I have some kitchen scissors. I have a couple of different pairs because I'm not sure if I'm gonna need the big ones, but I put my chicken on a baking tray because I do not have a good cutting board, so hopefully this works. And then have your lab manual so you can make sure you're identifying each tissue along the way, and make sure to take photos. Okay, so I'm gonna point you down at the chicken. There we go. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. Let's see. Up a teensy bit. Maybe down. There we go. Okay. All right, so this is a chicken quarter. So we've got the leg and the thigh together here. And if we were to put this on a chicken, it would be the leg here and the thigh. So this would be the right side of the chicken. And on the surface here, we're gonna start with our first tissue, which is the skin or epithelial tissue. And then you'll want to pull this up, and this is where the kitchen scissors come in handy. You can use a knife if you want to. I feel more comfortable using scissors, but that is totally up to you. So you just kind of cut the skin off of here. And what you're gonna find as you're pulling the skin up is this sort of white, shiny tissue right here that's holding the skin down, and that is our second tissue, and that is the loose connective tissue.
Hi, I'm Professor Kea. Welcome to my econ class. Well, here we are in our classroom. You may be wondering what we'll be covering in this module. Great question. Here's what the learning objectives of this module are. Intro to Module 1, Introduction to Economics. Upon completion of this module, the student will be able to define economics, identify the 4 factors of production or resources, explain the 3 basic economic questions, differentiate between different market systems and how they differ based on economic freedom and standard of living, explain how the circular flow model serves as a model of the economy, define microeconomics versus macroeconomics, define positive versus normative economics, explain how economic models are used and the basic assumptions made in many economic models, explain and identify examples of opportunity costs, explain the law of increasing opportunity costs, define the production possibility frontier, PPF, explain what economic growth is and how it is shown using the PPF. Yes, we'll be learning a lot, but you've got this. So let's get started. Here we go.
Hi students, welcome to CHST 063, Child, Family, and Community. I'm Dr. Francis, your teacher and guide this semester. I'm so excited that this class is fully in person and I get to see all your beautiful faces every Tuesday and Thursday in Che 134. I am excited about teaching this class because this class is really about all the factors that make the child who they are. So we'll be looking at researchers like Vygotsky and Bronfenbrenner and Erickson and thinking about how students and children are socialized in the community in which they live. And then we'll also be discussing that connection between school and home and how that influences what happens with a child's educational journey. I'll be asking you to reflect on your own experiences and your own families and your own community. So come to class ready to learn, excited. I am so looking forward to doing all the fun in-person activities that just make learning so powerful. So, see you soon.
Welcome to the West Valley College Library. My name is Susan Ma. Today I'm going to teach you how to exploring job opportunities and career. First, go to the library homepage. Do you know how to get to our library homepage? I hope you know, because this is a great resources. All you have to do is to click on the databases. It will take you to the West Valley College Library subscription databases. Now, click all database types. Go to Education and Careers. 5 database found for education and careers. You will see Job and Career Accelerator. Click on Job and Career Accelerator and click Explore Occupations. You will need to sign in and register. Then go to Explore Occupation Groups. Launch Career Tours. You have to sign in your username and password again. After you sign in, you can see all the occupations. Isn't that page amazing? It has everything you need to help you to find a job. What job are you interested? I will pick finance. Click finance. And I will pick the first one, actuaries. You can read what is actuaries. Now, I want to find out how much this job makes. Click wages and trends. I'm interested in California. Job availabilities for California is 86,110, and in California, 93,870, and job availabilities in California, 780. This is a great introduction on how to use our databases to find a job. Thank you.
I'm sure you've all heard of ChatGPT by now. What we're watching is 3 different attempts of ChatGPT to solve one of the simpler problems you did on last night's homework. All 3 attempts are different, and all 3 get the wrong answer. In this assignment, I want you to look through ChatGPT's steps. You can find these outputs in the module on Canvas, and identify where ChatGPT went wrong. I also want you to answer the following 2 questions. How can ChatGPT be useful to you as a student, even if we know that it often gives us the wrong answer? Second question, what do we need to be careful with when using this tool?
Hello, and welcome to this campus safety video brought to you by the West Valley Mission Community College District Police Department. We would like to share some safety information if you were ever confronted by an active assailant on campus. Please know we are here if you have questions or would like to have additional safety training. Thank you for taking the time to become an active participant in keeping our campuses safe. If you're ever confronted by an active assailant on campus, you have three options: run, hide, or fight. We will break these down for you a little bit later, but first let's take a look at our campus lockdown feature. Most classrooms and several offices across both campuses have a building lockdown pull station just inside the door. Take the time to find the building lockdown pull station for the areas you frequent on campus. To activate, you simply pull down on the device. Once activated, this will lock all the electronic doors to your building. Simultaneously, it will send a signal to first responders, similar to a fire alarm. The difference with the lockdown system is that it is a silent alarm, so if you pull the lockdown, confirm your door is locked, and find somewhere safe to prepare for what may happen next. Know that first responders are coming. When it's safe to do so, call or text 911 and report what's happening. Let's look more closely at the run, hide, fight options. Once you become aware of a threat on campus, you need to decide to run, hide, or fight. Just because you may decide to hide initially doesn't mean you can't run later if the situation changes.
If you decide to run, make sure you know where the threat is coming from. You do not want to run closer to the threat. You want to make sure you know your escape routes from the places you frequent on campus before there's an active emergency. If you have decided to run, do so even if others don't want to leave with you. Run from the building and get far away from campus. When you're safe, call 911. Stay away from campus until you receive information that the campus has been made safe. When you can't or don't want to run, take shelter indoors. Get to a place where you cannot be seen. Lock or barricade your area, silence your phone, don't make any noise, and don't come out until directed to do so by the police or until you receive a WVM alert stating it is safe. To be sure you're signed up to receive WVM alert, go to the District Police website for more information. All students and most staff are registered automatically.
As a last resort, you may need to fight to increase your chances of survival. Think about what kind of common items are in your area which you can use to defend yourself. Team up with others to fight if the situation allows. Mentally prepare yourself. You may be in the fight for your life. In many instances, the safety topics that are the least enjoyable to cover are the ones that are most important. No one wants to think they will find themselves in a situation where their life is at risk. But now more than ever, we are seeing regular reminders of the importance of being prepared for emergencies, for ourselves, our colleagues, and our loved ones. And that's why it's smart to be prepared for a worst-case scenario. Look for our other safety videos at our District Police website. Thank you again for taking time to watch this video, and stay safe.
Hi everyone, this is Chris Cruz at the foot of the Mendenhall Glacier, wanting to say hello and show you the Mendenhall Glacier. And in this particular location, you can see the meltwaters coming off of the glacier itself. And hopefully in the future, we can do things to help take care of the planet that will prevent this from continuing. We just walked through about 50 years worth of time on the trail to come out here. Thanks, and hope you guys make it out here someday.